there's a good chance you've never heard of BlackRock. Founded in only 1988, in less than 30 years, this American financial firm would grow to become the company that owns the world, managing assets worth $6.3 trillion. These are assets that belong to their clients, mainly the pension funds of ordinary people, teachers, police officers, nurses, and many more. And that's just the beginning. BlackRock has also developed a software platform called Aladdin to perform risk analysis for its clients. It receives sensitive data from banks, insurance companies, and other important institutions. Through Aladdin, BlackRock has insights about the management of financial assets worth another $20 trillion. BlackRock also has shares and voting rights in many of the biggest European companies, in sectors such as energy, oil and gas, transportation, food, and of course, finance. The company holds public debt in the form of bonds and has real estate interests. And still, there's more. Our rock, you see, wears many hats. Aside from being an investor, it is also an auditor and an advisor. Governments and central banks invite a BlackRock subsidiary called BlackRock Solutions to audit them and to provide advice about the management and rescue of banks. Yet at the same time, BlackRock is often a major shareholder in these same banks. In other words, the company often sits on both sides of the table. BlackRock Solutions gets privileged access to highly sensitive information that could be valuable to BlackRock itself. Does this constitute a conflict of interest? No, says BlackRock, which claims that the company has established Chinese walls between its different subsidiaries. In January 2018, BlackRock's founder and chairman, Larry Fink, sent a letter to all of the CEOs of the companies BlackRock is invested in, asking them to do more than deliver financial performance and make a positive contribution to society. So BlackRock not only owns the world, it also wants to save it?
If we had a pandemic, we could emergency authorize this new mRNA technology.
There was never a vaccine made with mRNA.
Messenger RNA, which we had no previous experience with, none.
The mRNA technology scares me. It's a brand new technology being used.
Not one more shot should be delivered.
It's a tragedy that it was allowed to happen.
It's perceived that there is a gold mine, a huge amount of potential profit to be made with this new technology.
Now the former director of the CDC and an advisor to Operation Warp Speed has raised concerns about what he sees as potential shortcomings of mRNA vaccines.
mRNA vaccine, where I use this vaccine, helped develop it. I don't use it anymore in my patients.
He no longer recommends the technology due to potential risks with spike protein production.
I turn your body into a factory, but I have no controls over that factory. I mean, you can make a lot, you can make a little, and you can make it for a week, you can make it for 6 months. I don't think it's unreasonable to go re-examine the safety of what we know about these vaccines.
Thousands of doctors and scientists are calling for a halt to mRNA vaccines. For years, a growing number of prominent experts have been investigating what they believe could be serious potential harms linked to these vaccines.
And again, we've got good quality observational data showing increase in heart attacks and cardiac arrest in people aged between 16 and 40, so younger people, which was associated with the vaccine and not with COVID. That's from Israel.
Having some of the brightest minds from around the world come together.
Get injured and then you sue your...
This is a group of highly competent professionals that are seeking to obtain answers.
Robert Malone, one of the inventors of mRNA technology, voices his concerns about the safety of mRNA vaccines.
The evidence about the adverse events from the vaccines is unequivocal. It is absolutely overwhelming. These adverse events clearly include myocarditis and a number of other things, including in particular clotting disorders. But we're just still learning about many of the long-term adverse events.
Robert Malone's website lists nearly 800 papers on mRNA vaccine side effects.
If you haven't yet detoxed from the vaccine, now is the time to act. Lingering spike proteins in graphene oxide can be very dangerous to your body over time, triggering chronic inflammation, blood clots, immune system dysfunction, organ damage. And the spike protein will also attack and destroy your endocrine system, which can cause changes in your mood, as our endocrine systems are what makes our hormones. And this will directly affect our moods. So if you're going to choose one of the professional detoxes I've tried and recommend, then you will have two choices. Either for you living in the US or Canada, which will be the top link, or for those living in the rest of the world will be the link at the bottom. This will ensure that you get the lowest cost shipping possible. And most importantly, be you.
Each year, customers buy more and more from our friend because he makes a better oil drum than his competitors. One day, customers demand more oil drums than the owner can produce. He figures it will take about $3 million to do the job. So he decides to form a corporation to sell shares in his business to raise the capital he needs. First, the owner goes to the state government to get a corporation charter and permit to sell shares in this business. Next, our friend goes to an investment banker and shows him the record of the oil drum manufacturing company's past performance and plans for expansion. The investment banker decides to help our friend sell shares in the corporation to raise the $3 million. However, before any shares in the corporation can be sold, certain information must be filed with the Securities and Exchange Commission in Washington. The investment banker and the owner must swear that the information they file contains nothing but the truth. Registration with the SEC does not imply that the government approves the stock issue as a good investment, but only assures the public that if any of the material statements about the stock issue are false, punishment will be according to the law. After SEC registration is effective, the investment banker pays the owner $3 million in exchange for a certain number of shares in the Oil Drum Manufacturing Corporation. The investment banker sells shares of the common stock to people at a price which returns his $3 million investment and shows a profit for his services in selling the stock.
I've suffered this all my life, that, well, at least ever since I became a conservative, which was in May 1968 in Paris. Yeah. I didn't know. I hadn't a very clear idea of how to articulate it. All I knew was that when I looked down the street and saw all these rowdy students throwing stones at policemen, I just said to myself, whatever they believe, I believe the opposite. Right. And then I didn't know what it was. And then it was a sort of lifetime's work to find out what the opposite is. So, and I, somewhat arrogantly, came to the conclusion that it's if you start thinking about politics in an intellectual way, you are likely to be on the left, because that provides a systematic solution, an answer to the questions, puts it all in a system, and also gives you a rather dignified and self-congratulatory place in the system. But once you started thinking, if you think a bit harder and longer about it, you'll move back to what you would have been if you had never thought at all. You know, and that's my view. Is what an intellectual conservative is. It's someone who articulates the real reasons for not having reasons.